Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features Longshot number 3, cover dated November 1985. This is number 3 in a 6-issue limited series, so we're about midway through that series. The cover quite designy with all these monstrous arms and hands reaching out towards Longshot with their various array of weapons. Longshot there crouched on the ground with a look of determination on his face. Other interesting features of the cover include the direct sales edition lower corner box. We've got a close-up there on Magog's face. He's known as Pup to Longshot, and he's growing more and more bestial with every issue. That's really nice black and white line work there by Arthur Adams. And up in the top corner box, we have the same character there. In every issue's corner box, he's growing bigger and larger, and Longshot's looking at him there as he's gotten bigger. That's quite nice, whimsical detail. So let's open this one up to the first page. We don't get a splash page. The title of the story is Just Let Me Die. And the creative team is Nocenti writer, Arthur Adams pencilers, they're co-creators of the characters, Whilce Portacio on inks, Joe Rosen letters, and Christy Shield colors. So this guy, he's just an ordinary guy. He's drinking his beer there. He's reading the newspaper, watching the game on TV. Meanwhile, his family's running wild all around him. His kids chasing after the puppy there. His wife is nagging him about the bills. He's reading a newspaper article about a $1 million diamond shipment to Con Edison to be used in experimental energy power production, something like that. So this is all set up for where we're going to end up a little later in the story. But turn the page here, and you can see very nice cartooning by Arthur Adams on this page in particular. The guy's walking away. He's saying, "I'm invisible," to himself. "I don't exist. I might as well be dead." So he heads to the bathroom, thinking to himself, "Peace at last. I have to go to the bathroom to get peace from the noise of his kids, the puppy, his nagging wife." And he looks at himself in the mirror and thinks, "I'm ugly, I'm dumb, and they told me man was created equal." So that's a little bit of a theme running for that guy through this particular issue. And he's there thinking, "Got to brush my teeth yet again, like I do every day and every night for the rest of all my born days, brushing my teeth over and over for the rest of my..." And then he looks with horror at himself in the mirror, and he comes out with this grim look on his face, and I like the shadow there on his face. And his wife is still complaining about how she works her fingers to the bone with the kids. So he goes over to a set of drawers, pulls out a handgun, sits down on his seat, and is he going to shoot himself in the head? No, he blasts the TV to bits, and off he walks silently. So that's a pretty interesting sequence. It's like the desperation of the ordinary man, and like what's he going to do next? So he walks to the river, jumps off the bridge into the water. He's going to kill himself. But he thinks to himself there, "It didn't work, can't even kill myself right." And that's because he's landed on top of Longshot. Now, Longshot was dumped in the river at the end of the previous issue when a stunt went wrong. He was working on a movie, and the director, who was a bit of a bad guy as it turned out, just drove Longshot away. Instead of to the hospital, he drove him to the river and dumped his body in the river because he didn't want any problems with the authorities or his film shut down. So this particular guy pulls Longshot out of the river, and he's marveling at how Longshot's face is healing right before his very eyes. So Longshot's got some kind of accelerated healing factor, and Longshot, when he touches the guy, gets an empathetic flash that he tried to kill himself. And that's, again, Longshot's power, and when he uses it, his eye flashes, his left eye flashes. So Longshot says, "Who'd want to die? It's great to be alive." And the guy responds, "It is? Sure, forget it. Listen, this is what it should say on my gravestone." And the guy has identified himself as Jinx. So this is an interesting juxtaposition. This unlucky loser guy with Longshot, whose power is a luck-based power, which works when his heart is true and his intentions and goals are virtuous. So the guy starts talking about the Con Ed bills that he's facing and will have to pay. And Longshot says, "I heard of them. My friend Elliot told me." That's back in issue 1. "They're thieves. They rip off the people, right?" And so the guy Jinx says, "Well, yeah, go. So let's go get the money back." Says Longshot. That's a nice shot of Longshot there. And he says to Jinx, and you'll have an adventure. So the guy thinks to himself, yeah, you can thank your lucky stars you're alive. And Longshot says, I might be from the stars and they tell me I'm lucky. I seem to be a lucky star. And then he's wondering where the pup is. Meanwhile, in the background, this is very grimly macabre comic. The guy's getting back up on the bridge. He swings a rope around one of the girders and jumps off to hang himself. But Longshot notes what he's doing and throws one of his flechettes to cut the rope, and the guy falls into the water. And he's such a jinx, the pen in his shirt pocket breaks, and now he's got ink all over his shirt. So as I said, like, it's fairly gallows humor comedy that's going on here, but I like it. I think it's pretty good. So later on, they make their way to Con Ed, one of the facilities there, the power facilities, and they make their way in. A bit more comedy between the pair. This guy no good at sneaking in. And let's continue. I like this page. There's a good sequence here with the DeLuca effect from Arthur Adams as Longshot runs and he springs up and over the electrical wiring, fence wire, and smashes the contraption that is routing the electricity through the wire. So now the fence is no longer electrified. The guys inside, they note it, and they determine to go help one of their colleagues down in the basement. So now it's safe to come through, and Longshot tells Jinx he's got to get over the fence. So he does so by climbing up on a tree and jumps over, and Longshot catches him, just like the guy's a damsel in distress. It's funny, he's still got that noose hanging from his neck as well. So Longshot's in great form. He's they're of the opinion that it's all exciting, no alarms, they can walk straight in. But who or what is this in the background that is phasing in behind Longshot? So it is the monsters and demons that he was in the company of in the first issue, and that are trailing him and blame them for stranding them on Earth in a dimension that's not their own. So here we see Spiral and we see Gog here. And basically Gog says his stinking luck will find his way back, but I hate him. Soon, Spiral, soon. You just be ready to dance. So they're looking for a way to get back to their dimension. And so here we are inside the facility itself. I like this page and this one too. So we've only got 4 panels here, 3 here. So there's really scope for the art to breathe and the storytelling, excuse me, also. But you can just see the amount of work that Arthur Adams is putting in to the backgrounds, everything, to the machinery. Lots and lots of design work going on. So in any case, Jinx and Longshot make their way down to the generator room of the power facility. And as Longshot is touching the equipment, he says, look at this grid, all this metal, so many wires, familiar, so compelling, wires, pulls me back, I remember, grids. And then he flashes back, also see his left eye flashing as well. So he flashes back to his mysterious past, and in fact, it's implied his creation. So here we've got the spineless ones. We'll later learn that it's Mojo World here. Mojo isn't one of these, and they talk about their Gene-Engineer, let's call him the Gene-Engineer, Arise, that he's in bad humor, and that he's created these beings with spines. They'll be able to walk. And one of the spineless ones says, if I were paranoid, won't the spines make them better than us, the only ones? And his companion responds, what blasphemous thinking is this? It's much preferable to be spineless. We expend so little physical energy leaving our minds free. These poor creatures, in doing our labor, won't have a flicker of energy left over to think. So Nocenti kind of having a little political subtext here in terms of workers and, in this case, slave owners, and implying that the workers, the slave workers, because they're going to be so busy, won't have any time to think and or rebel. So here we get our first look at Longshot here, and the spineless one says, morphogenetically grown in these delicate machines, let us probe this new warrior specimen for any emerging glimmer of consciousness. So the spineless one says, greetings son, this is your new world and I'm your first owner. And Longshot replies, no one owns me. But the response is that he's feisty. Arise is ornery, the engineer. These days he's designing them with some intelligence, not to mention a dangerous element of spunk. Well, we'll just have to remind this one of the facts. We own you, we made you, and you're ugly. Don't ever forget that, slave. But for now, I'll shut off your mind. So then we're back in the present, and Longshot is coming to with the memory, and he's got questions about who created him. And he asks Jinx the same, and Jinx says, I don't know. Well, I guess... Sorry, he says, created, built, no one. We're born. And then he thinks again, well, maybe God made us, and so on and so forth. So a little back and forth between them. But who's this in the foreground here in red, sliding down a chain behind them? And then they find the diamonds. And Longshot, when he touches them, this is one of his powers. He can get a mental empathetic reading from objects he touches. So he realizes there's something special about the stones. And we've got the color hold here in the background of the monster demons going through the dimensional portal. And he says, I read, I see something familiar, an opening of some sort, but I don't understand. Yes, these gems are special. And here in the background is one of those demons. So Jinx is delighted with their haul of diamonds, that they're going to be rich, but the demons come up behind them. They're following them rather surreptitiously. Jinx, living up to his name, trips over the feet of a dead security guard, breaks his nose, breaks his teeth, loses his glasses. So this is kind of hilarious the whole time, this juxtaposition of these two characters. And then Longshot recognizes Magog, or Pup as he calls him. So here he is, and he's grown even bigger again, and he gives them a warning about the demons that have surrounded them and that are dropping down around them. And Magog actually grabs Jinx as well and pulls him to safety. But we'll see a very interesting characterization of Magog, that he's very divided in terms of whether he hates Longshot or whether he's loyal to him. So now we get a little bit of action here. Probably, some readers would be thinking, finally, given that this is supposed to be a conventional superhero comic, even though it isn't, but ostensibly it is. So here we get a battle between Longshot and these dimensional demons. And, it's a bit confused. I have to say that the artwork is a bit confused, and even the colorist is giving up on separating the monstrous characters individually. So we're just getting this general flat red to delineate them, and one or two characters picked out, like this guy here. So Longshot's there thinking. He breaks an important machine, which leaves the whole city in a blackout. So we switch to Manhattan. And I like this little detail, reminding us that we're in the Marvel Universe. So we've got J. Jonah Jameson there saying Manhattan's in the dark. It'll be chaos. Crime rate's going to skyrocket. And here in the background, we've got Peter Parker thinking to himself, go ahead, Jameson, say it. Must be Spider-Man's fault. But it's not Spider-Man's fault. It's Longshot's fault. And now he sends out his flechettes against the demons. He hits them because that is his power, his luck power. But he's bopped from behind and knocked unconscious and strung up and bound. And now we see the demons using the diamonds and Spiral dancing one of her dances to open up a trans-dimensional portal. And Gog here is delighting in the fact that they're going to go home. And also the sweetest part for him is they're going to leave Longshot behind. And now Longshot becomes desperate. He wants to know who he is. And that's part of the quest he's on, trying to find himself, not to put too fine a point on it. But the demons are delighted to leave him behind and to slip away. And Gog says to him, that's the beauty of this whole moment, to leave you and take our secrets with us. Don't worry, when I get back, I'll drop in on all your friends, everyone you love, just to say hello. So the threat is clear there. And then they go through the portal. And Longshot's left behind asking, tell me, please, who am I? And one of them with a big demonic grin says, you're nobody. And he's left there with his question as to who he is, his perennial question as to who he is. A lot of detail on these pages still. Arthur Adams isn't taking a break on any of these pages with backgrounds or anything. It's good stuff, like a lot of work. but maybe here and there a little bit crowded, I would say, if I had to make one criticism. And now we get this interesting scene with Magog. Really like that panel there of him with his big beard. That's really nice. And here he is really angry when Longshot just has this naive attitude regarding Pup, as he calls him, and he thanks him for saving Jinx, and he just really riles him up by saying that, save him? I didn't save him. I took him to kill him because I hate you. You and your human form and your pretty face and your stinking look. And that's very interesting because all the other demons regard, just like the spineless ones, regard Longshot and the other humanoid creations of Arise as ugly looking. But Magog has a different perspective, and he sees Longshot as having a pretty face, and he is envious or confused about it. In any case, Longshot makes the point to him that he didn't kill Jinx, and he says to him, he says, I still see the pup I love in there somewhere. And Magog walks away saying he isn't worth such a grand death, and walks off. So Jinx sees something curious here. Weird fellow, sort of a dog who wishes he was a person. Is that why he hates you? Well, that'll be a little mystery to be resolved in subsequent issues. So Longshot climbs out the window. There's the aftermath of the blackout. The dead guard is being taken away. Again, a lot of detail in this particular panel. Arthur Adams taking no shortcuts with the art, with the rendering of the ambulance there and the police car here, as well as they hide behind the bush. So Jinx is concerned about the blackout and the damage that Longshot did by destroying the machine for generating the power to the city. And basically he says to Longshot that they should give the diamonds to the people. You cut off their power, so now we make it up to them. And also, he throws a fit here, a hissy fit. He doesn't want to hang out with Longshot anymore. Let's turn the page and see why that might be. If I can separate the pages there. So he says, around you, I feel like nothing but a chump. You're special, I ain't. I'm ugly and clumsy, and there ain't nothing special about me. Whatever you got, I ain't got it. Man ain't created equal. You're different. You're bigger than life. You just remind me of how small I am. I couldn't even kill myself right. Last guy I want to hang out with is Mr. Wonderful. So Longshot, good-natured, wanted to help, and what can he say? He doesn't have the words. So the guy starts arguing himself to go home, picks up some flowers there, thinks about his wife. I kind of miss her voice. The flowers might make up for the fact that I left, and then I'm coming home looking like a toothless wonder. Yeah, I want to go home. And as soon as I get the electric back on and I get the TV fixed, I don't know how he's going to fix the TV after shooting it with the handgun. He's going to have to get a completely new TV. I can turn on the old tube. At least I won't have to brush my teeth anymore. So they go their separate ways. That's a really nice panel there by Arthur Adams. Lots and lots of detail on the woods and the shrubs. So Longshot walks away and thinks, boy, I blew that one. Wish I knew how to use these gems to get home, wherever that is. Guess I'll give them back to the people I hurt in the blackout. What a complicated place this world is. Well, maybe I like Manhattan. So that's where he's going. He's heading to Manhattan. And later that night at a coffee place, we've got Ann Nocenti and Arthur Adams having late night coffee, reading the newspaper about Longshot's exploits, and Ann Nocenti saying, and shuts down New York City while he's at it. She thinks he's a new supervillain. Good thing Con Ed caught him on camera, because geez, he's beautiful, she says. He's got moxie and he's rich. Love to meet him. And Arthur Adams, this is really funny, the way that he's kind of written into this, all he's got to say is just awesome. He drinks his coffee and she's got all the words. And she continues and says, a little weird though. I mean, look at this photo. Who's he punching? There's no one there. So that's very interesting. The demons were kind of out of dimensional sync, so they weren't showing up on conventional camera technology. So it just looks like Longshot was battling no one. Weird mechanical failure, strange electrical, probably blackout. So next up in the next issue, this is exciting. She-Hulk, Spider-Man, the NYPD and various demons all want Longshot. So that is one to look forward to. So this is kind of like another offbeat, done-in-one adventure as Longshot wanders around New York trying to find himself, learn more about his past, help people, but kind of half succeeds, half screws it up. Interesting issue, I think, and I really like this end piece where the two creators insert themselves into the comic as well. That's really nice. So I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on Longshot number 3. We're about midway through the miniseries. Let me know your thoughts on the issue in the comments to the video, and if you liked the video, please like it in YouTube. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.